I usually like to ask the obvious question of how a group gets its start, but in your case, I'm actually much more interested in how the duo has evolved since you started. What motivated you to evolve from your origins as a more traditional contemporary classical duo to what you are now, and what sort of discoveries have you made along the way?
Well, we had been together for a few years before pandemic took over in the United States, at least in March of 2020. And actually, that was around the 3-year anniversary of us making music together. And of course, we had a bunch of performances lined up throughout 2020. And as many other ensembles experienced, those gigs got slowly but surely ticked off the calendar, as pandemic raged on. But in a weird way, that was a bit of a silver lining, because the more Megan and I had conversations about what we wanted to do next and the kind of music we were interested in bringing to audiences, it actually gave us a little bit of time to step back and really consider what we wanted to bring to people and what we were really passionate about. And also throughout 2020 and into 2021, there were a couple of things that we saw that were kind of light bulb moments for us. And would you like to speak about what some of those were?
Sure. I think that naturally you kind of pick the thing that you're around the most. And so it just made sense to have this voice sax contemporary classical duo. And then the more we talked about what kinds of shows we wanted to do, I said, hey, I'm not looking for another ensemble in which we play new things every single time. I would really love to craft a show that we tour around so we get to perform things a ton of times. When we started creating the second touring show, that really opened up our creative impulses. And then we were inspired by things like David Byrne's American Utopia and seeing pieces that are from different times of their lives, coming together in this semi-narrative way. And I think that you'll see a lot of that in Black Meridian as well, is that we commissioned works for this that then come together in a loose narrative, in an abstract narrative, really, that we like to tell as like our storytelling model. So
yeah, we kept encountering other works of dramatic or musical art that we would finish viewing it or listening to it and then go, oh, we want to do something like that. And that happened 3, 4, 5 times. Then we went, well, then let's do that. It doesn't seem like we're really wanting to operate as a contemporary classical music ensemble anymore. And so we were like, okay, well, maybe we're more like a band. Okay, well, what the heck would we call ourselves? Okay, well, maybe the best genre label we could possibly find would be like Avant Pop. And so
emphasis on the avant.
Emphasis, yeah, heavy leaning on the avant. But I think we could, exist as an Avant Pop band that does concept shows. And then once we started thinking of ourselves that way, a lot of pistons, I think, started firing.
Do you see the future of what you're doing with this pivot, therefore catering to a different audience, and changing what sort of venues you're actually looking for, or how you're trying to tour?
I think a little bit of both. I think it allows us to be more honest about also the influences that we have as artists, and move in between spaces. So where we've incorporated more music that might be a little more familiar in a pop venue or a bar venue, something like that, but we also have pieces in the program that still very much fit within that art music concert hall experience. And us blending it allows us maybe to just kind of move into different spaces and highlight that for listeners who are excited by maybe an adventurous listening experience in a place that they already know, right?
Yeah, I think my goal would absolutely be that we could do the exact same program on a contemporary music festival and have people go, well, that was a bit poppier than what I expected, but that was really cool. And do the exact same show at Tipitina's and have people go, well, that was a bit weirder than I expected, but that was pretty cool. And to do the exact same show in the exact same way to different audiences and tell maybe one group of people, hey, this might be a little more on the pop side than what you might be accustomed to the rest of the festival, or tell another group of people, hey, this is going to be a little funky, but come along with us, and we promise there will be a payoff.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It almost makes it so that you exist in this bridge space where you can really try to bridge one audience to the other and turn it into like its own sort of audience, and kind of then help to open that conversation about the more art music side versus the pop side, like together in a fusion.
100%. And once we touched on that, I think both the two of us individually went, okay, wait a second, that's a value that I've had in the arts for the past 25 years.
Sure.
And we both touched on that and went, okay, well, wait a second. Well, if that's both a deep individual value of ours, then I think that should be a core value.